Hi, my name is Alessandro Gangelosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. Today we'll work again to the wet asphalt tutorial, and in the past time we worked on a version for VRay, and a lot of users asked for a VRay version of the tutorial. So we'll convert the various materials and lighting setup to work with VRay. And I decided to have something inside the scene to have something more realistic. And we have a car model made for past tutorial on Blender Cookie and Max Cookie. And all the material are ready, so it's just a simple car put inside the scene just to have something more interesting to render. So the first thing we have to do is to remove and change the lighting. So you know that basically the lighting is done just using a skylight. So we have to do the same thing using VRay. So let's go in the material editor and we can clean up the material, and later we'll recreate the various material for this version. So let's select the sky and we have this map. Let's copy this map there as an instance. Okay, that's our illumination map. So we can remove this one and we can create a VRay light. This light will be let's call it the sky 01, and it's a dome, and we can go for 1 for the multiplier. It's not visible, and we have to use this map as an instance. We say to use 2 key for the resolution, so we use 2048. And then we have to say to use the spherical full dome, so it will use the entire sphere for this map because it is a complete spherical map. The basic illumination is done. Then we have the possibility to use also a VRay sun, and to add this one I like to create an emitter. And we go for VRay sun, and we don't use the map. We have no skylight, and then we can set up actually the illumination. Let's go for something like that. And for the moment we have this one set to off just for basic purpose. So then we need to work on the materials. To start playing with the materials, we can create a basic material. So let's go in the rendering. You see that it is set to work with VRay. Now we go for VRay. Okay. And we go in the global switch and we say to override material. And we go to create a simple material for everything. So we can create a VRay material, and this one is just a gray material. We copy this one on the slot and we say an instance. So all the materials used inside the scene is just this one for all objects. Then let's go in the frame buffer, and it is enabled, so we'll use the frame buffer from VRay. Let's go to set something more, let's say 24 for the X scaling for the render region, and I will use half memory from my workstation. So I have 64 gigabytes, I can use 32. If you have less, let's use just 50%. And we can go for 16 and 2 for the global subdivision. And we use the low trade priority just to speed up the things if we have to do something during the rendering. The resolution is set, but we go lower, let's say 800. And we have the anti-alias set, and that's okay. And let's go to see something. Okay, so that's the rendering done using the skylight. Actually, let's go in the exposure control. We have the VRay exposure control. We go for the VRay, and if we need, we can play with this one. Let's say for the moment that we have 200 ISO. Let's render just this area, and everything obviously is really dark, so we have to go to pick the skylight we are using, and we can start playing with the parameters there to see when we have the light. So let's see, for example, if we have a multiplier of 25. You see that we are starting to have lighting, so I like to start to have also global illumination. So let's call the rendering parameters, and we go for global illumination, and the radiance map is really low with a show calc phase, and the secondary will be calculated with a light cache. And the light cache, I will use all my traits. I have 32 traits, and show calc phase. We use the default subdivision just for the test purpose. So this is starting to have a little bit more illumination, but we go to change this one, and let's say that we have 60, and we change also in the exposure the balance, and we go for a neutral lighting, and back to the render. You see that now we have more light, so maybe it's not bad. We have to make some testings, but maybe it is enough, and we have to just use maybe more subdivision, so we can have a better render there for the but you see that we have less grain than before. So now we can start playing with the materials, and that's really nice. So let's wait for the saving, and we can start playing. Obviously you see that inside the scene we have a layer, the car. So if you need to play with the environment, you can remove the car to speed up the rendering. So we can work in this way actually. Let's go in the material explorer, and you see there we have the various material. We can open the material editor, and we have to play for sure with the asphalt assistance, the asphalt to the center, the pedestrian, and we have the various building. The arc and design material can be rendered by VRay, so everything will be converted automatically, but I prefer to play with the material to create custom material using the VRay shader. So in this way you can obtain a better quality in rendering it. So the other material I think are all for the car. Okay, nice. So we have all the needed material there. I can save. If we try to render, obviously something will be rendered, because all the material we are creating and we created on the past tutorial are done using the arc and design. Obviously we have to remove the material override. So in the global switches you have to set to off the override, and then you can render. Okay, you see that we have something similar to the rendering we had before. We can say to the light to be also visible, so it will be visible inside the. So you see now the map is visible as a background. Obviously you can set the background manually using this map and put inside the environment there. It's not a problem. You see we have this one, but you can tune up the coloring and all the other stuff. So let's start playing with the material, and the first one is this one, and I can make a copy to have a reference for the old asphalt, and then I can play with a new one. So first thing, we need a VRay material. Okay, so let's check what we done in the previous version. We have a diffuse color, so we can use right mouse button, copy and paste there. And that's our map. Let's see where we have this map. We are talking about these two maps there. So we have this one, and then we have the other maps. So inside the rendering view, we can work on this part. If we go to render, obviously now we have just the color for the road and nothing more. Okay, and you see that we have the area where we have the wet effects. This time I like to work more in depth about the colors, so I like to make a little bit darker also the other area, because we are talking about wet effects all over. Then on the material we created past time, we have a map to control the reflectivity. So we can copy this one and paste over there. In this way, you see we are controlling the reflection. So we have a general reflectivity done with the specular layer there, and I like to see how much it will reflect. You see that the level of reflectivity is really high, so we can work a little bit over this map. Let's go to see what we can do, and we can for sure use a lower level there. Let's say maybe 35 for the luminosity. In this way we should have we can go in a different way. We can, let's go there, and we can set this one, and there we put an output, keep all map, and this way you see we can make it darker, so we'll have less reflection. Let's remove this one. If we go to render, obviously now we have less reflectivity over the entire road there, and it's better than before. We can tune up as we need later. So then we have this map that will add reflectivity all over, using, let's say, less for the asphalt and more for the puddles. So in this way we have more reflectivity in some area where we have the water and less reflectivity on the asphalt. Okay. Then in the previous material we have for sure a map to control the glossiness. So let's make a copy, let's go out, and let's set in the reflection glossiness as a copy. So you see that we have a lot of glossiness over the other parts, but we have to find the parameters. So let's remove this one, let's stay there, and we see the final result. That's too dark because it's used different way to control the glossiness. So we can check in this way what we can obtain inside the rendering. And as you can see, we have a general reflectivity, so I think that we can first of all have a little bit less glossy, so we have some more visible reflection over the surface, and maybe we can have also a little bit more reflectivity, but I like to see in a few if it is right or not. So you see that now we have this kind of reflectivity over the road, and then we have a nice reflectivity over this part. So back to the material, we have this one that is adding color to the puddle. So if we go to render now, we have no glossy over the puddle where we have a lot of water, and more smooth reflection where we have just the general water effects. So I should tune a little bit more. So there we have the white. I like to have a little bit less. I have to find the right parameters. So let's render just this area for a test to see if we have enough glossy inside the water. I like to have a little bit of glossy, and I like to have a little bit less glossy in general over the road. Let's see in this way. And maybe we can have a little bit more reflectivity over the medium wet asphalt. You see that now we have more reflectivity, but I like to have a little bit more reflection. And to change the reflection, we have to go there. And that's our map. So we can just manually change this one, let's say maybe 4. And in this way, we should have a more brilliant reflection over the asphalt. Okay, you see that now it is more reflective. Nice. We have to control also the bumping. So for sure we had in the VRay version of our material a bump mapping. If we go to play with it, but obviously we have also to control the reflection. Okay, we have no freshener reflection, and that's nice. We can have maybe a little bit of freshener reflection, and we can just maybe play a little bit with the parameters, but I like to see if the reflection is okay. You see, in this way it is taking care about the index of refraction. Let's use an I value. We were talking, let's use 16 for the subdivision to have a better reflectivity. We were talking about the bumping. We have this map. Let's copy for the moment. So let's go in the maps and paste. Okay. So actually this bump map is working using this kind of effects. First of all, we need just distortion over the map where we have the water, and we have the asphalt bump in the other area. So in the past time we didn't work on this part, but we can do it. And to do something like that, we have to copy this one, paste as a copy. We have to invert the mask, so we'll have this bump just in some area, and then we have no bump for the moment inside the water. So if we go to render, we should have the bumping just in some area. Okay, you see that we have the bumping just there. Let's go to check there the map. It's white and that's black. Perfect. And then we can have this one visible as 50% just on the wet area. So if we go to render, we should have some distortion inside the water. We'll put obviously a little bit less distortion if it is too much. It is a little bit too much, but you know, we can have less distortion, so we can just go there and say 20%. Or maybe just a little bit less. Let's see, with 7% of usage of this map, we should have just a little bit of distortion. Okay. And we can change also the scaling. Or maybe we can do something better. We go for an higher scale, let's say 20, and let's say that the bumping there is lower. Let's say 0.05, another test. So you see we have just a little bit of distortion, and I like to have some kind of more wet effects also out of the puddle. To do something like that, we need first of all another map. So let's say that we have there this one and this one there as a copy. So let's go for something bigger and still bigger, and this way. So we have, let's say, this map as 25%. So you see we have some wetter area, then we have a really wet area there. So we have to do the same thing for the other map. And let's say to use this one as a copy. So in the glossiness, add a layer. This one is moved up, and then we have this one. So let's say that we have another addition. This one is black. This one is black and gray. Let's use this gray. So we'll have there a black color, and we'll have the gray color there. So we have, let's say, an addition of 25, let's say maybe 35. So we have some more clear reflection and then the high reflectivity. Let's try to and okay, you see that we have this kind of low wetting all around. Maybe we can have less bumping in this area, so we can just play using this one as a copy, and inside the bumping we have this condition. We have to remove partially the bumping there. So let's set as a copy, and let's say that there we have white and black on this area. So actually you see that we have this one. We can have a multiply. We can say 15. So we should have less bumping in this area. Let's try to render just this part. Sorry, that's right, I made a mistake because we are controlling using this mask. So let's copy, remove, and there we have to say if we are using or not this one. So there we have to use a composite, keep all map, and paste. This one is a multiply, and you see that we can decide how much bumping we have in this area, and now it should work in the right way. Okay, now we are controlling the right way. I like just to have a little bit less bumping for this map, and we can do it directly using the output over this map. So output, keep hold, and we say that the bump is maybe 0.45 and just last step. So you see in general we have less bumping over there. Maybe I like to have a little bit more reflectivity on this area, so maybe we can say 50 and try again. So we have a little bit more weight of okay, you see it's more natural than the previous one. And last thing, I like to check the map, this one, and just a moment to scale the map, and let's see if we can do something to have just try to remove everything to have a more linear map. So this one is ready. If we go to check the scene, you see that this map is used on this part. We have the other asphalt, this one at the center, and we can make a copy to have something to relate. And we can make a copy of this material to be sure that we have not to do everything again. And over the asphalt center we can paste. Okay, now we can go to check the material, what kind of changes we done. And I think we changed using the asphalt. So what we can do is to have this map, so copy, and there in the diffuse we can paste, and same thing can be done for the others. So let's go in the reflectivity, we copy this one, and in the reflectivity at the lower level paste. Same for the glossiness. So let's see, it's just a map, it's not a problem. And let's go to the bump and copy, and inside the bump we can paste. Okay, we can try to make a preview for the central area to see if everything is okay. Okay, obviously it is using also other maps, so it is not so precise, but it's nice, it's working. And then let's go to play with this material. And we are talking about the pedestrian. Let's make a copy. And we can do there a VRay material. And let's start to have the same process. So we need the diffuse map, and we have this kind of map. We can render just with the diffuse. You see, that's the map we have. And then we can go and check the reflection map, and paste. We should for sure change something. You see, that's really reflective actually. Let's see what we had before on the glossiness. The glossiness was controlled manually. I prefer to control it with a mix. So the map, and manually we make a copy, and then we go to check this one. Let's go to see in a bigger way. We have black coloring, and that's not right, so we'll use as a diffuse color. Diffuse, okay, that's clear. And we have to control it using a color correction. Keep all map, and we can try to have, first of all, no saturation over the map, and then we have no contrast, really low contrast, and it is maybe with this one. Let's see if we have a nice glossiness. It should be maybe too much. It is not too much, but maybe we have to use the Fresnel reflection and then play a little bit more with the output there to have a brighter map. And let's see the result. You see, it's still not too much, so let's go a little bit higher. Okay, now we have some kind of reflectivity. Maybe we can see something inside the viewport for the render, and then we can tune up on, sorry. So you see, we have now some kind of reflection. We can have maybe a little bit more reflectivity, and we have to see what we have there. Maybe we can have see which kind of map. Okay, it's just to control the reflection, so we can go back to the lower parameter, and if you like you can have some part with a higher reflectivity, so maybe we can use the same map we are using there. Let's copy and paste, and let's see what we have. Okay, you see we have some kind of more reflectivity in some area, and we can have just maybe this one as addition, and let's say maybe at 45%. So we have a general lighting and general reflectivity and a little bit more reflectivity on some area. So it should be okay now, and we need for sure to work on the bump. So let's see the bump as a copy, and then inside the material, paste. Okay, that's the map, and we can go to have maybe just 10 and make a test. Okay, you see now we have also the bumping. And in general, we have just to prepare that material for the various building. We are talking about really simple material. We have just the diffuse, so copy, and we go for, sorry, a VRay material, and we go for paste there. Let's do the same for this one. There we have also reflectivity, but we can for sure create a really simple material. It's not so important. And paste. If we like, we can tune something later and copy, and we make the same for the others. And also the last one, copy. We use the VRay material and paste. Let's save the scene, and now we can try to make a preview for the entire scene. Then we can find a way to tune something if needed. So that's sorry, the actual result. We can put the car inside and see the result, and then we can find a nice looking position for the camera. So that's the render. Obviously the car is not tuned to work with this let's say this rendering setup, but we can do something to have a nice scene. Let's make also a copy of this car, and we put this one maybe a little bit back, and this one maybe is coming from the other road. So we have to move it a little bit over the y-axis. Back to the render. Let's see if we have a nice composition. Then we move a little bit the camera, I think we can have also a little bit more high, so maybe 250. We'll see if it's too much or not. Okay, that's not bad. We can find a nicer position for the camera, so let's go in a perspective and let's change a little bit. Let's create a camera from this point of view. And then back. And again. Okay. I like to see a preview from this point of view just to see if that's nice, and before we can do it without car. Back in the render, and let's see preview. So the rendering is not bad. We have some problems. First of all, obviously we have this part that is not working nice with the other parts, but first of all I like to change a little bit the bumping there. So that's the mainly bump. So we can go on this part, and let's say that the output there is 0.05. So it should be fixed from this point of view. Okay, you see that now we have less distortion. We should see also on this part. Okay, you see it's more linear, just a little bit of distortion. Then we have a problem there, and we have first of all to have more little mapping inside. So there we have to use an higher tiling. So let's go for maybe 16 and 16. Let's see if we are using the same map in other parts of the scene, and we are using it there as a specularity map. So 16 and 16, and we have to do the same for the bumping too. So we have there 16, 16, and you see that we have too much bumping for the puddle too. So let's go for we have 0.05, so that's nice. Let's see if that's enough. Okay, now the scaling is better, and you know we have a car there and a car there, so we should have no problems because we are not taking care so much about our rendering, you know. Let's see if this point of view is better than the previous one. I think we can also still rotate a little bit the viewport. In this way, and we can save and have back the car. So let's pick the car. We have the car there, and we can see a render, and maybe we can just see there the map, and we can have a little bit less contrast, let's say 5, maybe 4, and render. Okay, so obviously the worst part is the quality of this asphalt, but if you have a nice map you can use it and the result will be really nice. You see that we have a nice looking wet effects with the puddles and all the other kind of effects we need. So now you can prepare the final image for the publishing, and you see that's the final result. So I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.